Hello. Well, digital ID has got everyone in a spin, and rightly so. But did you realise that in many ways it's already here? Now, Claire Wills-Harrison, a lawyer for 25 years, has said that while we all fixate on Keir Starmer's announcement about the digital Brit card, the machinery of a full-blown surveillance state has already been quietly assembled. The digital ID infrastructure is not coming, it's here. And disturbingly, millions are opting into it without even realising. Welcome to Grey Matters. Hello, and welcome to Grey Matters, the channel that promotes the fact that the older generation still matters and has relevance, and which looks at issues that matter to the older generation. And as with our last video on digital ID, this should matter to everybody. Now, before we get started, a big thank you to the viewers who suggested things for us to see and do during our short break in North Wales last week. We had the best time, and for those interested in visiting that stunning part of the British Isles, there will be a Grey Matters travel special in due course, so keep your eyes open for that. Now, back to business. I must first acknowledge Claire Wills-Harrison, who first broke this information on her Substack. She describes herself as politically homeless, which I guess is a good idea because we get, a neutral view on things. But she also has an eye on the subjugation of citizens. Her posts are really interesting, I think, and I highly recommend that you pop over to her Substack and take a look. I'll leave a link in this video's description so that you can get a fuller explanation of what's going on. Now, as I'm sure you know, Starmer's announcement of the Brit Card ID scheme was received in a blaze of publicity, anger and hundreds of YouTube videos, including one from us. And incidentally, the government was very clever in calling it a Brit Card because it sounds very casually patriotic, doesn't it? However, I understand it's actually an acronym, difficult to say that, an acronym for Biometric Registration, Identification and Tracking. Doesn't sound so pink, fluffy and harmless now, does it? Well, what the government has done and is doing seems fairly benign at first glance, but it appears that every new bill and act has tendrils that reach out to digital ID. They're putting in place the backbone of the digital ID scheme, and most of us are blind to it. And a lot of this surreptitious digital ID is encompassed by the gov.uk's One Login system. Now, according to Claire, there is actually a backdoor to digital ID through new legislation such as the Data Use and Access Act 2025 or the Online Safety Act that came into force recently that requires you to upload your biometric data to access certain websites and platforms. Now, both of these came into force a few months ago, and also through bills currently passing through Parliament, such as the Children's Wellbeing and Schools Bill. All of these have insidiously embedded elements of digital ID and the methods of integration into their systems. Now, online, the main culprits and the keys to the backdoor are firstly the government's One Login system, currently for pensions and services, but which from 2027 will be mandatory to access all government services. Next, we have the handy gov.uk wallet for document storage. Yeah, do we trust them with that, I wonder? Then there's the NHS app for health and data. And finally, for the moment at least, mandatory unique identifiers for children in education and social care. Wow. Now, all these are really digital ID by the back door. People are opting into them for convenience without realising the future implications. I've done it myself by signing up to the Gov's One Login to access my pensions information. Little by little, we're voluntarily giving up our personal data to the government through convenient apps and websites, tangling ourselves up in a technological trap because all the roads from these services lead to one login and digital ID. And Starmer's been harping on regarding the benefits of the Brit card, stating it will be purely voluntary, but by opting into one login and all these various apps, you're already there. And once you're opted in, good luck trying to opt out. It's really disturbing because in its seemingly benign individual strands, it's actually getting you used to this digital intrusion. It's normalising it. And let's face it, we're so used to creating accounts online, aren't we? We're signing up for online shopping, entertainment websites, news websites and so on. We've so many passwords, I know I have, it's hard to keep track of them. And the government is using this to gaslight us into thinking it's our choice, when there's not really any choice at all if you want to access government services online. And it's all in preparation for making it mandatory for everyone. Now, if you're a company director, then in addition, you're going to have to provide proof of identity from this November. Failure to do so could see company directors being disqualified from holding director positions. And I don't understand why. Well, I do know why. It's because it's part of the one login thing, but company boards know who their directors are. Payroll and accounts know all their personal details. Company's house has all their data. But now the government wants you to prove your identity to Company's house and your right to be a director. And guess how that's going to be done? Yeah, through one login. I believe there is an alternative method, but it's convoluted and complicated, deliberately so, I'm sure. And it's true that using one login is very convenient. You can deliver the proof needed very quickly. But at what long-term cost? And who's going to be targeted next? Well, probably the self-employed, because they'll need one login to access all their tax details. And, they face enough red tape and financial problems as it is. And how long before we'll all need one login to be able to work? Well, actually not long, considering that it's one of the main factors of the Brit card ID scheme. How long before we need one login to access our banks, social media accounts, all the things we talked about in our last video about digital ID? Apparently, 11 million people have already signed up to one login. 11 million. Another commenter, Rachel from Colchester Council Watch, quite rightly says that those 11 million won't have any idea what one login is or what it does. And she says that one login is digital ID, and I don't disagree. She adds that it might not yet have reached its full potential yet, enslaving us all, but it will be used to do so, and it's starting now. Now, I suspect the Brit card scheme will be shot down as the bill travels through Parliament and the House of Lords, but I don't think it will matter. It seems more and more to be a smokescreen because the mechanisms and infrastructure are being quietly introduced piecemeal to control our online activities. We think we have a choice and we choose to accept it. But by the time 2027 comes around, we'll all be so used to it. And by the time we wake up to what's happening, it'll be too late. Is there anything we can do about it? I don't honestly think so. I mean, the obvious solution is to stop using the services, but who would do that? The NHS app is a convenient and sometimes vital tool, which is often the only way we can access some of our health data. We have to use one login to access pensions information, the alternative being to write actual letters and wait weeks for replies. And it's it's the same with our tax affairs. Not to use the services would be time-consuming and inconvenient. Deliberately so, I would suggest. So we'll just keep walking into the trap, even though we know we shouldn't be. Yeah, welcome to 1985. What do you think? Do you believe this? Do you think it's just conspiracy theories, or do you think there is substance to this? It's a heck of a problem for sure. Do let us have your comments, please. We do like to read them. As you know, we're very comment-driven with our content. this has raised hackles in a lot of places, so let us know what you think. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, a like, and share it. And if you're not subscribed, please do so. Then you can keep in touch with all our future content. Yeah, I wonder. It's worrying, isn't it? Until the next time on Grey Matters, bye for now.